We touched on Trump's campaign promise about 45% tariffs on China and labeling China as a currency manipulator. Do we think that actually he'll do that? You talked about it being an opening gambit in terms of the 45%. Where is it going to end up?
It depends who his Secretary of the Treasury is and whether he listens to that woman or that man.
Right.
I can't conceive of a Secretary of Treasury wanting in 2017 to begin a 4-year administration with a trade war with China.
Right. Ashley?
I think we certainly ought to keep in reserve the option of doing difficult things with respect to China, to address questions of currency manipulation, to address the role of SOEs in a free trading, state-owned enterprise in a free trade system, questions of IPR and so on and so forth. But President Trump has to ask and answer one important question. Will the United States, including his own constituency, be better off if he moves towards a more restrictive global regime in regards to trade? And if the answer to that question is no, that Americans as a rule, including his own constituency, will actually be worse off if we end up curtailing global trade, starting trade wars, then I think he can make a compelling argument to himself that his own interests are not served by pursuing the course of action that he's threatened. There's a second point. There is no doubt that the American state has failed the American people in one important regard, which is we have not invested sufficiently in mitigation. All neoclassical trade theory will tell you that the gains of trade will not be equally distributed within a society, which means that the state has a special responsibility for mitigation. Those elements in society that don't gain from trading relationships need to be supported so that they are in some way made competitive. Now, if Mr. Trump can begin to pay attention to the dimensions of mitigation that we've lost sight of, then I think he will have actually served a public purpose. But as I said earlier, if the solution consists of throwing the baby out with the bathwater and destroying the global trade regime, I think the United States and his own followers will end up becoming worse off at the end of this process.
And when the Chinese see Trump talking about 45% tariffs, see him talking about labeling them as a currency manipulator, they're thrilled that now that the renminbi is now a reserve currency. How does that go down?
The Chinese feel that, well, it's not the first time we've seen this, and it's not the last time we're going to see this. So it's campaign rhetoric. We have developed a fatigue about this campaign rhetoric, so we're not going to take it super seriously. We're going to see what he's going to do after January 20th next year.